We've all encountered this situation. You're trying to explain something to a normie, truth bomb them, and what you get back in reply is a pre-programmed rebuttal that's packed full of logical fallacies. And what I'm going to do today is explain this pre-programmed response and how you can reply to it. So what is it then? Well, normies will say to you, well, oh yeah, this could, what you've just said, it could never happen because far too many people would have to know about it, and so it's unrealistic. Yeah, so the normie says it's this theory that you've got about a global genocide, right? It's a conspiracy. It's a stupid conspiracy theory, right? Because you need to consider just how many people, there would be thousands, millions of people would need to be in on it for this conspiracy to be viable. What you've got to also realise is that, these institutions that you think are responsible are made up of people, thousands of people who all have their own moral values and a sense of justice. So the thing that you need to consider, Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, is just how many people would need to not only go along with the conspiracy, but also to keep it a secret. So how many of you have had that thrown back at your face? I know I have. In particular, this former GP that I knew. And as I say, it's basically a pre-programmed response. It's not their idea. It's not their argument. It's just something that they've heard, and they know that they're obliged to repeat it. It's foolproof, they think, as a rebuttal. But here's the point, right? That it is a logical fallacy because it assumes that everybody who implemented the plan was aware of the plan, and that's just a logical fallacy. Sometimes people implement things without knowing what the strategy is or was. To quote back at the normies is obviously the Manhattan Project. So a good one, to start that one off, is to say to the normie, tell me, do you know about the Manhattan Project? My guess is that even the ones that have got impressive qualifications will not know what the Manhattan Project is. So you'll need to explain it to them. So the Manhattan Project was the development of the atomic bomb towards the end of World War II. So you can ask the normie, would you imagine that was a complex project? And they have no choice but to say that it was. You could ask them, how many people do you think were involved in undertaking that project? And it was several thousand, if not more than that. So somebody would have leaked details of the project, but that never happened, because when they dropped the bomb, it was completely unexpected as far as the general public was concerned. Not only in America and Britain, but also in Germany and Japan. No one expected it. And it took years to develop this bomb. So, again, this is refuting what the normies are saying, is that that somebody would have leaked the information. Normies would also say too is that surely some scientist somewhere would have objected to it, on moral grounds, like killing a lot of people with nuclear weapons. You would have thought that some normie somewhere would have blown the whistle on that. Just refuting their idea is that in fact huge plans, global strategies can be enacted by millions of people who are each doing one particular task needed to complete the overall global strategy. And again, as I've said, a minute or two ago now, you don't actually have to tell the person or the people who are implementing the strategy what they're doing. What we've seen is that for most people, they're just hardwired towards obedience, and they'll do whatever they've been asked to do, and they're quite happy to do that without knowing what the reason is or what the strategy is. So for the sake of Gulag Tube censorship, let's just present the following as a hypothetical situation, yeah? So let's assume that at some point in the future, we've got a group of people who are pursuing an anti-human agenda. And again, I'm just going to reiterate this for YouTube. I'm not saying that this is the case. This is just a hypothetical thought experiment. So they want to, let's say they want to reduce the world's population from, I don't know, like 9 billion to 1 billion. Let's say that they want to do that. And let's say that these evil people, this evil cabal of people pursuing this anti-human agenda, have decided that their strategy is going to get people to poison themselves, to basically euthanize themselves by taking poison. So to enact this strategy, it's going to take hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are going to have to get involved to turn this strategy into a reality. So for example, you know, a lot of people are going to have to be involved in the design of the poison. Now for those people, you could say to them, well, scientists, what we want you to do is to come up with a revolutionary new type of medical treatment. And you can say, because the people involved in these processes, they've been hardwired towards kowtowing to authority and experts, you know, people who are above them in the hierarchy. You can say, well, this process, yeah, it's been recommended by, you know, some centralized authority that's responsible for health, you know, maybe some prestigious university or think tank somewhere. And you know, you can say to these people, these middle grade scientists, you can say to them, trust the science, comrade. You could say to them, look, people with who are more qualified than you, they've said that this stuff is safe, so go off and design it, please. And most of them, they're hardwired towards obedience and order following, and that's exactly what they'll do. They'll go off and manufacture it. So what I'm saying here is that you might have people who unknowingly get involved in the manufacture of poison. Don't know that they're involved in it, but they're enacting the strategy all the same. So this kind of normie take of, oh, well, somebody would blow the whistle. It's not true, because they might not know what the truth is. They might not know what the strategy is. They might not know what they're fully involved in. All they're doing is obediently following orders and trusting in the expert above them in the hierarchy who's told them to do whatever they're doing, to implement the genocide plan. You know, to implement the plan, you'd also need even more people involved in the to administer the poison, you know, to actually dish it out. You know, you'd obviously need people to manufacture it. These days you really wouldn't need too many people involved in that, actually, because of automation. You know, most factories are highly automated anyway. Anyway, let's just stick to the people who are at the interface. You know, they're actually distributing the poison to the members of the general public. Again, those people, are you going to tell them, you know, if you were a genocidal maniac, are you actually going to tell them what's in the vials as you ask them to? Would that be in your interest? Would you actually need to tell them what's in the vials? I put it to you, Mr. Normie, that you don't need to tell them, because you know that the people doing the frontline administration are obedient order followers, and you know that they're not going to question what's in the vials. They're not going to question what they're handing out to people. They're just going to do it. You know, you could say another thing that you could get them to do is incentivize them. Most people are immoral and greedy, so you just say to them, okay, every time you hand out poison to a person, we'll give you 30 quid. How about that? And if you start to ask any questions about what's in the glass vials, remember YouTube, this is all hypothetical, we'll cancel you, we'll fire you, we'll remove your license to operate, and that will soon shut down most people who think that being good is just simply obeying orders, following the rules, and who think that that is actually morality. They actually think that good people follow rules, bad people disobey rules. Like, morality is that. Morality is following rules. Not objective, God-given morality, as I've said in previous videos. For the normie then, who says, oh, that could never possibly happen because it would need millions of people involved in the conspiracy, and somebody somewhere would need to blow the whistle. Would blow the whistle, rather. Somebody somewhere wouldn't cooperate. Somebody somewhere would spill the beans. You can say to those normies, you can say, well, look, your pre-programmed response is based on a logical fallacy. And the logical fallacy is that why have you assumed that the people doing the implementation of the strategy are even aware of what the strategy actually is? Like, if you were a genocidal maniac and you needed millions of people to poison the people that you wanted to get rid of, why would you even tell those people what they were doing? You would just tell them, do it. And you could mislead them. You can tell them that the poison is actually a useful medicine. Again, I'm going to reiterate for the purposes of the YouTube censor here, I'm not saying that this has happened. What I am saying is, this is a thought experiment. This is a thought experiment. Yeah, so people, you can enact great acts of evil. You can have global conspiracies. And there's no guarantee that somebody will blow the whistle, even if millions of people are involved, because it's highly likely that most people don't know the reason for what they've been asked to do. They just do it in return for a salary. And yeah, that's all I want to say today from sunny Finland on the 20th of December 2023. God bless.